Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Unfuck Yourself podcast. I have a very special guest today, Nicky Moriarty. And did I say your last name right? Because I've known you for 10 years and I still can't say your last name right sometimes.
It was close to not saying it, but you did.
I tried really hard.
Yeah.
We are live, per usual, in front of the Unfuck Yourself membership. And we've had a lot of technical difficulties. This is the first episode where we have all the cameras, all the lighting. We're trying our best. It'll just get better and better. So I was having anxiety, but we're okay now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm enjoying this whole experience. I don't know what that says about me. It's entertaining for me. I don't know what that says about me.
Nicky's number one entertainment in life is just watching me have anxiety.
Yes. Pissing Ali off.
Yeah. Me and Nicky's relationship's kind of like brothers. It's like literally he's like a brother.
Yeah.
And so if you have a brother, you understand they just really like when you're annoyed.
Yeah.
Like, they just like to poke at you and they like if you're annoyed.
Well, yeah, it's great because like I didn't have to do any of the poking to elicit this thing out of Ali. Like typically I have to put a little bit of work in. Poke, yell, poke. But here I just got to enjoy that. It's been great. But
you got it for free today.
Yeah, I got it for free. Yeah.
Well, I have Nicky on here because we have a super exciting topic that I know everyone's excited about because I posted this on Instagram yesterday and we had so many questions in the question box.
Yeah.
And a lot of the questions are things that I already had bullet points on my phone to talk about, but we're going to dive in on the truth about Jesus, about Christ, and about Christianity. And why I brought Nicky on is because I think it was last year, we're in the car driving, and Nicky and I just get into this conversation about how, wait a minute, we're actually like super Christian. But like if Christian didn't get infiltrated by dark forces, we're like super Christian. But because Christianity got infiltrated, obviously then, there's things that don't feel true and that when we look intuitively aren't the source truth. So we're going to dive in today to the source truths of what Christ taught in the Bible, and then also how it got infiltrated and what's not the source truth, and going into really controversial topics like abortion, like gay, like marriage, like sex before marriage, all of that stuff. So I'm really excited about it. Okay. So we're just going to dive in right away into this one. First bullet point I have here is sexual preferences getting hijacked by dark forces. Men, women, gay, lesbian, all of it. Like, let's dive into each one of those categories and how our sexual preferences can sometimes get hijacked by dark forces.
Yeah, I think it's a fascinating topic. And I think a lot of the reason why people have a hard time with the Bible is because supposedly they oppose same-sex attraction and connection and things of that nature. And I find it pretty interesting because anytime I receive any sort of information, whether I'm learning information from the Bible, whether I'm learning information from another religion, whether I'm learning information that we talk about in regards to intuition, I like to question it and get to the root of it. Because what I begin to realize, and you know this too, Ali, is that there is a truth nugget that resides within everything. And so the question is, what's the truth nugget within something like that? And it's a triggering topic to bring that up, right? Because it's a lot of the reason why people, again, are opposed to Christianity and the Bible and things of that nature. And one of the things that I found, I should say exploring this world through the intuitive lens is that because our emotions are the thing that create our reality, and they're the thing that it's like we attract what's in accordance with our dominant vibration, and our emotions are the thing that sort of supports that frequency and vibration of our dominant vibration, is that when you elicit, activate that sexual energy within you, you can do anything with that energy. And so people in a position of power, whether you're same-sex attraction or you're not, they have completely hijacked most people's sexual attraction. They've done this through birth control. They've done it through different things to mess with people's hormones. So most of us, our sexual attraction, the ones that we have, are not in accordance with our true nature state, the ones that we have. And I know it's keeping it a little bit vague right now. You guys are like, well, can we get a little bit more specific in regards to like what the Bible says in regards to that same sex attraction? But it's important to know, and Ali, I know you'll elaborate on this, is that because of this, they can get you, that is getting you to do something that is out of accordance with what your true nature would desire. And a lot of, like women on birth control, they have a higher sexual draw towards men that are a little bit more feminized. And that is intentional to create chaos and to create sort of, again, you going after things that are out of alignment with your soul. And sexual energy is an incredible way to cut off your critical thinking and get you to do things that are out of alignment with what you said. So what do you think about that? And yeah, I want to hear, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so in the Bible, there's sections on, like a man and a woman make a strong family unit.
Yeah.
And that is not wrong, right? Like the qualities of a masculine energy mixed with the qualities of a feminine energy make a whole universe, right? Mm-hmm. Because if not, then the woman has to go be masculine or the man has to go be feminine. And then you're living out of the true nature of like how your core was designed. Now, the problem is that women who take birth control, they actually start to be attracted to men with different pheromones than they would be attracted to if they weren't on birth control. And pheromones are actually what will make a healthy baby. You're attracted to someone's pheromones with the opposite immune system as you.
Yeah.
So then your immune system, their opposite immune system can make a healthy baby. But if you're on birth control, you're attracted to someone with similar pheromones. And now your baby's not going to be as healthy, dark force agenda. Mm-hmm. What also happens is they're trying to emasculate men, like the powers that should not be. We'll say the powers that be, but should not be. The dark, elite, absent of light people who have control of the world right now. And they want to make men more feminized. And how do they do that? Well, they put on Love Island and they put on all these reality shows.
Which you love.
Where I've watched Love Island.
No? Oh, okay. One of those shows. All right.
Love is Blind.
Oh, okay.
Different.
Okay.
They're getting married.
Got it.
They're in love.
A little more wholesome.
No, they put on like Love Island and Too Hot to Handle and all of these things where men are in a wounded masculine. They haven't worked on their wounds and now they're acting out of them and they're acting in a unhealed way. And so it trains women to then hate men and not trust men and then think they can do it all on their own. And then it trains women to become over masculinized. And obviously, like I run a business, I fucking love to work. I love to you've known me when I was super masculine in my energy at one point. But it's not good for you. Like it wreaks havoc on women's hormones. It makes women angry and pissed off. And then they have this mentality of, I don't need men. Well, now you're breaking up the family unit. They don't want a strong family unit because if you're in a strong family unit, you're more powerful. You might have heard me talk about this in Fuck Dark Forces, but when like a good soul match gets together and they become 10, not 2 times more powerful, 10 times more powerful than what they are alone. And they don't want you in power. They want to be in power. The dark forces, dark elite, absent light people want to be in power.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that one?
No, I think that was spot on. And the thing is like with birth control, it does get into our water supply because when you're, for lack of a better way to say it, when you're peeing it out, right? Yeah. It does get into our water systems and then men begin to absorb this and their attractions to who they would naturally be attracted to, it shifts. And all of this is by design, like you said, to break down the family unit and to get people in a state of chaos, to get people out of accordance with the nature of what we were meant to do. And so again, it's sort of looking at these different sort of pieces of information in the Bible. And the Bible has been hijacked by absent of light, by dark forces, and going, what aspect of this is true? Mm-hmm. And it's not that Source sees through this black and white lens. Source doesn't see things as, this is bad or this is good. Everything has a purpose. But if our water supply is hijacked by chemicals that are messing up our hormones and our food supply, and pharmaceutical companies are doing all these things to our physical bodies, then it has to create a need for things that kind of slow down the progression of humanity. And so, yeah. Yeah.
And so people have a lot of question, like in the Bible, it says, being gay is demonic. Now that's not true. Being gay isn't demonic, but taking someone who was not supposed to be gay and turning them gay through chemicals and fluoride is demonic. The act of putting certain chemicals on purpose into the water, into certain things, into vaccines, that is now turning a soul who was never supposed to be gay into being gay. The act of doing that is demonic, not the person, because the person can't help that. They're just getting the vaccine like they're told to do. But the act of whoever's making the vaccines, whoever is like having control of this, if now there are souls that are literally supposed to be gay and they're here to be gay, but it's a lot less than than how many people actually are. And again, it has nothing to do with the people. It has to do with the act of intentionally, on purpose, taking someone off of what their soul plan was supposed to actually be.
Yeah, and it's well said, because again, it's no different than someone that is straight having a different attraction to another straight person that they wouldn't intentionally.
Exactly.
Right? Like if you're more attracted to men that are more feminine, but that's not your true nature attraction, it's no different than someone that has been hijacked or whatever, and they have a same-sex attraction, and that was a part of their soul path. There are souls on this planet that have a soul path, and they were, and a lot of souls know what they're getting themselves into, but that was part of their soul plan, to teach humanity how to love themselves deeper. There's a lot of purpose for sex beyond procreation. Believe it or not, about 2%, which I've recently learned, it blew my mind, is actually intended for procreation. So there's a lot of reasons other than procreation for sex, but it's important to understand whether it's a same-sex attraction or whether it's attracted to the opposite gender, is that if it is hijacked and it takes you off your soul path, it's taking you out of your source-aligned mission and the thing that's going to increase the frequency and vibration of this planet. And it's a little bit tricky to talk about topics like this because people are sensitive to them. Why? Because sex is a way to elicit an emotion, and when people are emotional, they get sensitive and their critical thinking skills go out the window and they begin to take things personal. So Allie is bold and likes to just, let's talk about this. And I'm like, she's like, shut up, sit down, let's go. I'm like,
because so it's like, it's because it's not like Allie's decided opinion. It's like the source truth that intuitively the past 10 years we have, after looking in and learning more, have found. Yeah. And it makes sense. Like, they do it to men too. They do it to straight men. They do it to straight women. Like we talk about with women with birth control, they do it to men by putting porn in men's faces from a young age. Yeah. And then men are attracted to a certain type of girl who lacks deeply love and respect for herself. And dresses then accordingly, and then acts accordingly in a certain way. And then and then men are going after that type of girl over and over and over again. And that takes men again away from
the divine masculine. The challenge. Yeah. Like that's part of being masculine is to like lean into the challenges that life has to offer and sort of earning your right to begin to take a woman out on a date and get to know a woman and all these other things. And the feminine is meant to challenge the masculine a little bit, And so, yes, if you're watching pornography, the effects of the brain, I mean, science is showing us more and more like the negative effects that it has on the brains. But ultimately, if we were to simplify it, there's a dopamine release that happens from not doing a challenge. So you're training your system to go, I deserve reward by laying in the bed and being gross. What do you call it? You said the fingers that you always like Cheeto fingers.
Oh yeah, you like, see man with
in the basement. Yeah.
My mom's basement.
And ultimately, to attract a high frequency woman, a source aligned woman, it's going to require you to lean into the challenges. It's going to require you to, some of the men that have like the best counterparts, I asked them the question, and I'm sure Justin was in this situation. I actually know he was, where I was like, how was it, or I'm asking Justin for an example, how was it attracting Allie, right? Or of any of my other friends? And they're like, it's kind of hard. Got rejected at first, right? Got rejected because the feminine naturally is going to sort of test out the masculine and see, do they have an unwavering knowing of how brilliant they are and incredible they are? And that will allow the woman to go, that provides me safety and security and all these other things. So it's a really good topic. Allie likes the hot topics. It's good though. And again, going back to the Bible, again, a certain percentage of the Bible is high frequency. And I do want to highlight this, and you already did. It has been hijacked by dark forces.
Totally.
But there's a reason why so many people, and even spiritual people, are like, what's the deal with the Bible? Why so many people talk about Christ? And there's something that resonates about living a life through the lens of Christ or through the path of Christ. And we're going to talk on that today. because there's golden nuggets within all the pieces of information and the storylines and the prophecies and stuff like that.
Yeah, like before the Bible got infiltrated, it had incredible information, and it's kind of like a lot of things are just like watered down too. So there's things that like maybe aren't dark force infiltrated.
I was just adjusting. Keep going.
Things that like maybe aren't dark force infiltrated, but they're just like they're watered down kind of too.
Yeah.
And I just want to also reiterate, like, I am not sitting here saying that, like, because the Bible says like being gay is a sin. Like, that is not what like the source truth is. What the source truth is taking someone out of how they were supposed to actually be and how they were designed is a sin through chemicals and fluoride and all of that. Yeah.
Taking someone off of their soul path is a big no-no from source.
Yeah.
But, you even bring up sin, right? So the question is, what is the truth nugget that exists within sin? Well, we in this, these communities, right? We call sin emotional imbalances. Right. And so I'd sort of like to think of Christianity as sort of a watered down version of what we're doing. For lack of a better way to say it, because I wouldn't want to offend someone that is this. Allie doesn't care about it. She's good at being blunt. She just say it. But you can make the argument like we're almost like a high frequency Christian in a way, because we're extracting the high frequency information that sin, it's just not explained.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's an emotional imbalance. So where Christianity will say, well, we're born into sin. Well, what's the truth into that? Well, the world has been hijacked by dark forces. But ultimately, at your core, you're perfect. You're source aligned. And then we take on worldly, we could call them sins. I don't love that word. But it turns into these emotional imbalances. And so you think you want certain things that you don't actually want. And so that's where I would like shift the translation of a sin. But they sort of have a sort of a muddy, watered down version of a lot of the things that we talk about.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. Like, think of the sin they say in the Bible as like a reflection, and a reflection is when you are out of alignment with your truest potential.
Yeah.
When you're out of alignment with your truest potential, you are going to have certain thoughts, certain emotions, take certain actions that aren't your full, authentic truth and full potential. And that is being out of alignment with your source-like self, with your God-like self. Now, I would say anything that's like fear-based in the Bible is dark force infiltrated. Like if you have a reflection, God isn't like, you're going to hell. You had a reflection. Like, you're bad. Like, source sees everything as perfect. Like everything. The source definition of love, of unconditional love, is seeing the good and bad in everything and seeing it as complete perfection. So you can do no wrong in the eyes of source. You can murder 20,000 people.
I can bug this shit out of Allie. It's perfect.
It's perfect. Source doesn't care. Source isn't on my side because Nicky's bothering me. Like, you could be Jesus, or you could be out there murdering 100,000 people, and source sees the perfection in all of it and doesn't have a bias toward one person or the other.
Yeah. So it's a really good point that you bring up. There's two things I want to say on that, which was, the topic of Christ has been showing up recently, and I brought Christ up in my Saturday service. Someone in a session was asking about Christ and stuff like that. And I intuitively asked the question. I was like, what was, Christ was one of the most well-known beings who ever lived. And I was sort of asking, like, what were one of the ingredients that sort of like allowed Christ to be so well-known and have the impact that he had? And the information that came through is exactly what you said, is that Christ developed a mastery over realizing the perfection in everything. And it really created this really clean and coherent creator field that allowed him to have the impact that he's still having today. And it's a lesson that all of us humans, even all of us in this room, everyone here, we're still finding ways to develop like a nervous system, emotional level, seeing the perfection in everything. So I love that you said that, because yes, if we were to simplify all the information that we share, it's finding ways to realize the perfection in everything. So I just wanted to add that.
No, it's so good. And like, I would say anything that's like fear, giving you the fear of God, is probably dark force infiltrated in the Bible, because source God is like just complete just sees complete perfection and love in everything. And Source understands and realizes that we're all everything. Like one of Source's biggest like teachings is we're all murderers. We're all lazy. We're all incredible. We are any attribute ever. We are all of it.
Yeah.
And we're all murderers because I've killed bugs. I've, like if someone came to my house with a gun and held it up to like Justin or my sister, I would hold up a gun to them, you know?
At least killed my ego a couple times.
I've killed Nicky's ego a couple times.
Yeah.
But the problem is if we don't, there's a universal law called the law of marbles. And if I don't own my murder marbles of like, I've killed bugs. I've like, maybe, I don't know if I've ran over a squirrel in my life, but almost, you know, like you have. Yeah. Like I would kill someone if my life or someone else's life that I love depended on it. Right. And if I don't own that, like if I'm going, oh, I don't know how they could ever kill somebody. I would never do that. Well, I'm now giving someone else my murder marbles, and now they have to take on, and now how many other people are saying that I would never kill someone?
Yeah.
Well, now hundreds of thousands of people are giving one individual all their murder marbles because they're not owning that they are also a murderer if they needed to be. And then someone takes on all those and then just mass kills all these people for no reason. And
creates an imbalance.
It creates an imbalance. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're all everything. So if we could just admit and own, like, oh yeah, I'm that. I see myself and then this way. I see myself and then this way. I see myself and then this way. Then no one else has to take on your marbles that you're denying.
Yeah.
And then no one's out of balance. And then no one is actually going out and murdering because no one has to balance out your denial of that you would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a point that I was going to say and I completely lost it.
I fucking hate when that happens.
Gosh, it was so good. It was like right here. I was going to say, let's see, I lost it.
Damn it.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah, I was like, it's your turn to talk. Like,
it's the worst.
I just set you up so beautifully. Got it. Like I lost it in my mind. It was realizing the perfection in everything. I completely lost it.
Fuck.
Yeah,
it'll bring it back up.
It'll come back.
Just interrupt me if you remember it.
Okay. Yeah, I will. Yes.
So God, Source sees the perfection in everything. So therefore, there's no like fear of God, or if you mess up or quote sin, which is not actually like the word I would use, right? If you're having reflections, you're out of alignment with your highest potential. God's not mad.
I know what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
So a lot of what you're talking about, a lot of these words are written into the Bible, right? Like love, how about love your neighbor and like forgive and all these other things. Like these encapsulate exactly what you're talking about, is that there is, it is almost your duty to learn the art of forgiveness. It is your duty to learn the art in loving someone outside of yourself and to love them as you would love yourself and love them, and see the source within them. And so everything that you're sharing, there's aspects of this that are written into the Bible. And I found that spirituality is just a vague term, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think sort of like New Age gets a bad rap for reasons actually why I would agree. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that I would agree with that Christianity has pointed to.
Yeah.
Right. This is what a lot of people don't realize. Why, Allie and I talk about, we're like, there's a lot of aspects of Christianity that we're sort of in accordance with. I
resonate more with Christianity minus the dark force infiltration more than I do like New Age spirituality. 1000%. Yeah.
Right. Because spirituality is just an umbrella of non-physical. And what does that include? That means dark forces. That means there are certain tarot cards, and Christians will tell you this, that are infiltrated by dark forces. Christians will say that psychics, they'll just sort of give a blanket statement. They're like, psychic ability is demonic. There's truth in that.
There's truth in that. Right? There's a massive truth.
If you go to the wrong psychic, for sure they could be pulling from demonic forces.
For sure.
And by the way, demonic forces can pull like source-aligned information that is like, 70% accurate, and then 30% of it is infiltrated, meant to completely throw you off your path. The way that I think about it, and you can think of the Bible as, or maybe not, but you can think of it as the same way. Let's say I cooked a really healthy steak for someone. It was completely nutritious. It was completely organic, but I snuck a pill that was like slowly going to like tear your body down. That's what it's like to receive kind of accurate source-aligned information. I'm going to eat that steak. I'm going to feel good. But if I keep eating that steak over time and I keep placing that pill in there that's meant to like slowly deteriorate my body, over time, it's going to have negative effects on my physical form and even my life. And I like to think of like, when we sort of use these blanket statements like spirituality, it's difficult because some people think we're referring to one thing. And Ali and I talk about this like, well, we're a branch of spirituality. And I think what religion does actually pretty good, which I kind of like, is like they sort of give a clear understanding of what aspect of spirituality they're talking about, what they subscribe to and what they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can see at some point this turning into like a word. And right now Christianity has enough high frequency stuff that I can see, even as far as living life, they don't maybe word it this exact way, but living life guided by Christ. If you want to elaborate on that for them, like the Bible talks about live your life through Christ. And a lot of the ways we're doing that, if you want to explain.
Yeah, I want to dive into that, but I want to go off of what you just said real quick. So what Nicky brought up about the psychics is so real. Like when they say like, don't trust psychics, they're demonic, like that there's a lot of truth to that, because a lot of psychics or untrained psychics, they could be supernaturally gifted, but they don't know what they're picking up on. So they could be picking up on literal demons or dark forces or Archangel Michael. Like there's a dark version of Archangel Michael, and they're very good at posing as light and putting on like a cloak, like wolves in sheep's clothing kind of thing. Yeah. And so, but the Bible also talks about like prophecy, like having prophecy and getting visions from God. And intuition. Which is literally your intuition. Yeah. And that's translated to follow your intuition. So they actually talk about following your intuition and trusting the guidance from God and the soul pulls. Yeah. And what, again, it's like very watered down. So they're not specific of like, trust this type of intuitive. Don't trust this one. They don't, it's watered down, but a lot of tarot cards are demonic. Like crystals, if you're not clearing crystals, they have a lot of dark shit on them because they soak in. All a crystal does is just amplify energy. Yeah. So if you clean it, clear it, charge it, and clear the dark shit off of it, it can amplify in a great way. But if you're not doing that, there could be a demon corded into that crystal, amplifying the energy of the demon. So crystals can also be demonic. Certain yoga poses are actually certain demonic. I was I haven't looked at intuitively with the yoga pose thing. Keep going, because I was going to bring it up. Yeah. But you'll see like Christians on social media be like, yoga's demonic. And my initial instinct, I'm like, really? Yeah. But then that's my emotional bias. So I actually haven't looked in intuitively. It sounds like you're going to share. So go ahead. Yeah. And by the way, you guys, like I used to like go do yoga and go to core power yoga, which is like, isn't that serious and that kind of thing. But there are certain poses that you take the form of in your body in yoga, and they actually mean they're actually super demonic symbols and super demonic poses. And so, so it's good to know that yoga in its essence, and again, I'd have to like comb through this information, what I'm about to say, because what Ali's saying sounds spot on, but like it's not that yoga in its essence is demonic. Right. But where Christians are like, yoga's demonic, there's a little bit of truth. What Ali's saying is like these certain poses, everything holds a frequency and a vibration. Mm-hmm. Right. And you'll see people in a position of power like hold these certain poses that might not be yoga poses, but with their hand signs and all these other things, because it like is a signal and a sign and aligns your frequency with dark forces. So sound bowls is another one. Oh, sound bowls are the frequency and vibration of sound bowls has been intentionally meant to be out of accordance with our natural state. And that's dark forces. Yeah. So it's interesting. It's sort of like, I think a lot of when we have these awakenings, these spiritual awakenings that are so beautiful, and we get to realize that there's this like larger non-physical part of the self, it can cause a lot of us to dismiss different religions because they're so structured, and there is a lot of misinformation within the Bible and Christianity and these religions. But I have found that if you really want to get to the truth of something, it's to legitimately open up your mind to the most ridiculous sounding things. That's how you'll align with what I like to call playful objectivity. It's that your spirit self at its natural state, it's playful, but it's objective, right? And if I'm sort of dismissing, it sounds ridiculous because like my initial instinct saying yoga is demonic is like, that's insane. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm good on that. For sure. Go be Christian. Yeah. And when you really go, okay, I'm going to consider this. Now you're tapped into your intuition and your critical thinking skills. Yeah. Bring those two worlds together and you can get to the heart of the truth. And a lot of different religions, I think what's beautiful about developing intuition is that you can walk into a temple, you can walk into a Christian church, and you can extract high frequency information that is source aligned, push out the stuff that doesn't work, because you'll realize that religion
holds a valuable place in this world. They're especially right now, like more than ever, like people need religion. They may not be ready for information that's at a higher frequency than religion. There's a place in the world for religion. It gives people a fundamental understanding of connecting with source, loving yourself, loving your neighbor, forgiveness that a lot of people need. And so as us spiritual beings, we have a tendency to dismiss religion. Oh, that's not true. This isn't true. I'm going to do this and I'm going to meditate all day and so on and so forth. And so I really think like the living life guided by intuition, it allows you to see the source information that resides. You could potentially, if you put up source protection, go to a psychic that's pulling like 20% right information, but you have intuition. So you're like, all right, the 80%, that was demonic. I'm going to pull that 20%. That would look good, you know?
Yeah.
And you get to be sort of like living this life that is through the lens of source, or you could even argue Christ.
1000%. And oh no, I just did it. I had to piggyback. I lost my
stretching.
Oh my God. What? It totally left. I
have something.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
So they talk about in Christianity, in the Bible, like to give your life to Christ. Okay. Now on paper, that sounds a little ridiculous. Where I would agree that it's ridiculous is to put someone on a pedestal to lower your own value, your own self, and to go, this person. But where that came from in the truth nugget is that source became a vessel for source truth. And so when you do live life guided by Christ, it is as close to alignment as to living a life guided by source energy, only because one thing, it's not because Christ was more special than any other human. It's that Christ was a vessel for source information. And so the information that Christ had to offer was truth. And so it got mistranslated over text and thousands of years. Right? People are like, I'm going to give my life to Christ. And just, there's a little bit of truth in that. It's like, if you can live life guided by his messages and his words, but the truth of his words, and how do you get that? You get that through intuition, because again, Bible's been infiltrated. It's riddled with misinformation and been mistranslated. But when I hear people talk about the Bible, I'm always looking for the truth nugget. I'm like, why? Why Christ? Why Christ? Okay, Christ developed a mastery over realizing the perfection and everything. Great. Why do they always say, give your life to Christ? Oh, the truth in that is that Christ was a physical manifestation or Christ became a vessel for source truth. And so when you live life guided by Christ, you're living life guided by your truth, your purpose, your mission. But ultimately, I know your community knows this for sure, is that the messages that Christ had to offer was like, hey, look, I can do this. That means you can do this.
1000%.
We can all harness the high level of Christ consciousness. Christ was a person. Christ had flaws. And I have one more thing, because I know you probably want to say something about Christ, though, is that I was like, let's go.
Good.
Okay. That's my emotional imbalance. That's my sin popping up. I'm saying. One thing about Christ is that, oh my God, I'm fucking lost it. Okay. So when they say Christ lived a perfect life, I love this. That blanket statement is riddled with misinformation. Okay. But remember, everything has a truth nugget in it. And I'm wondering why that's something that's so highlighted. Well, it's because Christ was ambitious. Christ had this deep desire to live a life perfect, meaning in total alignment with source and his intuition. And so it got mistranslated. Christ was human. This is well known. A lot of people misunderstood Christ because he didn't always articulate his messages in ways that were clear cut. In fact, he intentionally kept his stories pretty vague because he wanted people to do their best to extract the lesson and
get to their own answer. Yeah, he taught through stories.
Like through stories. He kept some of them vague. He would just cut them off and like, well, what?
Really, what's that
mean? This guy's crazy. But it's ultimately realized because he had a pull to create a perfect world, a heaven on earth. That's ultimately what that was. And so there was a point in his life where he began to embody, God, I hate saying this, but a perfect life, because he had this zest for learning and connecting with God and imparting those messages and wisdom onto the planet. But also, I know I'm going on and I'll just end it right here and you could say something. A lot of his messages got mistranslated, right? That's by the person that he was. He's pulling this information. It's kind of coming from all over the place. And he's probably communicating things that weren't that digestible to humanity. And look what's happened. His message and what he offered the world, it's got completely mistranslated.
Completely, yeah.
And I'm sure he would take a certain level of accountability for that because he's a human. We all have,
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I think of like, obviously Christ and like the consciousness of it sees everything as perfect.
Yeah.
But like, if I would think like if Jesus was still here as Jesus, like in that body as Jesus, like he would be like, stop praising me. Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we praising me? Like, you can heal yourself too. Like the whole thing was like, you can heal yourself. Like you can like connect to God the way that I have the intuition of connected to the God truth of things. Like that was essentially the message. And the whole point is to continue to grow into the level of Christ consciousness. So the highest frequency you can vibrate at in a human body without just like turning into light and going back to source is 1,000 frequency. And Christ operated his emotions, his thoughts, his actions at 1,000 frequency. And his soul was also at 1,000 frequency. Your soul can be a high frequency, but your emotions, actions, beliefs can be totally at a lower frequency. And the whole point of why we're here is we are just Source decided to break off. Source knows everything about there is to know about everything.
Yeah.
But God is so just humble that God's like, let me go learn more. And so all of our souls are just broken off pieces of source coming back down to earth in a human body to experience and learn even more. How do we learn? Through emotion.
Yeah.
And in that emotion are the goal. Everyone wants to feel better, right? Like there's no one in life who doesn't want to feel better.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, even if you're like not interested in self-help, you still want to feel better. You're still looking for something.
Better,
Right, exactly. So you're still doing something to make you feel better. And that is everyone's internal pull to maybe not in this lifetime, maybe not in the next lifetime, maybe not in 100 lifetimes, but in some lifetime, get enough information, go through enough trauma, go through enough lessons where you have finally learned so much that now you are living and embodying the Christ level of consciousness, which is seeing the perfection in everything and seeing the perfection in yourself.
Yeah.
And so that's like everyone's goal is to come back and just embody that and live that, not to be saved by it. Like no one's coming to say, like, Jesus isn't coming to like save you. And I'd like to, he sees everything as perfect, but I'd like to think if he were here in his human Jesus body, he'd be like, why are you praising me? Like, don't do that.
Yes. I also think he would see the perfection in it.
He would see the perfection.
Yeah. I totally agree. Like it's that both. And the cool thing about the Bible too, if we were to get a little bit more esoteric and so I'm sure you're happy to bring this up because you just like going balls to the wall, which is that, they have a lot of prophecies in the Bible about the end times and things of that nature and the return of Christ.
I was going to bring this up. Yes.
Where we look through the intuitive lens and you'll see that Christ has already returned.
Yeah.
And Christ has returned at different points in history. I'm almost hesitant to say this, but like George Washington was Jesus, was the soul of Christ. And so Christ has returned. And, speaking about the end times, there's definitely things that are happening in the world that are signaling to end times, but also a beginning of the new and actually creating a heaven on earth and things of that nature. So there are a lot of different characters from the Bible, like Mary Magdalene is also back.
Moses is back.
Moses, pretty sure, prophesied Christ before Christ he was even there. That's fun fact about people that are
I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah. And so there's different characters that are back. And essentially there was this call from source that went out to the furthest reaches of the universe to bring back the most high frequency souls. And so a lot of your community, I'm sure you refer to them as family in here that feel probably a little bit tired. Yes, it's an imbalance, but it was because your soul, and a lot of you know this already, came back more so you didn't need to come back. You didn't need, of course you can always learn lessons and grow, but it came back, for lack of a better way to say it, as a favor to increase the frequency of the planet because the planet was headed in a really dark, destructive direction. And so a lot of souls from the Bible, from different points in history are back to increase the frequency of the planet so that we all develop and activate that Christ level of consciousness, which we talk about, which is to realize the perfection in everything. It sounds simple, but to do this on a nervous system level on a day-to-day basis when I'm bugging the shit out of Allie, and for her to go, that's perfect, right? It takes a little bit of effort, like throughout your day to see it takes lifetimes to realize the perfection in everything. When tragedy happens in your life, right? To take accountability for that, that's difficult. And Allie and I talk about this all the time. How can you take radical accountability without it turning into blame? Mm-hmm. That's you seeing the perfection in anything. When tragedy happens around the world, yes, we're sensitive and we're sweet. And those moments, it's really hard to see the perfection and everything. It's like, well, I'm empathetic. How am I not going to feel for this? But to realize the perfection in it, or how many of us that are on the higher self path, we want our family to change. We want them to learn this intuitive information. Well, that's us not seeing the perfection in everything 100%. And seeing the perfection of a family member who doesn't want to learn this stuff.
Yes.
Like, doesn't want to, like, we're just wanting to change people. So it sounds simple, right? But ultimately, it's about day to day, every second. How can I, in all these moments, see the perfection in everything? That's ultimately, if we were to simplify, like how Christ gained the notoriety, it was from changing lives. But how? Because he developed the mastery over realizing the perfection in everything. And that allowed him to, do all the things and the miracles that we all have access to.
I have so much to say. Yeah. I have to write it down.
But, I know, because we're in our...
Oh my God. So to go off what you were just saying, then to go back a little bit, but to go off what you were just saying, of just seeing the perfection of where everyone's at.
Yeah.
I think especially honestly, in any world, in any religion, in the spiritual world, you can get a spiritual ego. Yeah. Where you're like, I'm better than you because I'm spiritual and I know more and I've done healing work. And it's literally no, you're literally not better than me.
Yeah. Sit the
fuck down. No one's fucking better than, know? And now you can earn the right for things like you earn the right to be a doctor because you go to medical school, or you earn the right to be a good intuitive because you've trained your intuition. But it doesn't mean you're on a soul level better than someone else or more worthy than someone else. You know, it's like someone's earned the right to be a doctor over me because I haven't gone and to medical school. But no, they're not better than me on a soul level. It would,
it would be like a senior in high school having an ego over a kindergartner. Yeah. They're not better. Yeah. Kindergartner could be smarter. The way that I like to humble myself is I like to think so let's not even I'll use myself for an example. We have one of the ways that can elicit and activate the spiritual ego is looking intuitively and you're going, wow, I've lived a lot of lives. Well, maybe you learned a lot of lives, so it takes you a while to learn this. Yeah. I mean, I've looked into new souls before, and I'm like, this happened a number of different times. I'm looking at a new soul, and I'm like, you're learning shit way quicker than my soul did in any lifetime. I'm like,
for real.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, and you are talented. Yeah.
No, literally. Yeah. And I think people are so quick to be like, I can't hang out with them because they're not spiritual, or I can't be around them because they're not this. And it's no, that's literally not how. Yeah. That's another thing that got infiltrated in the Bible too. It's and we'll get to this in a second, because I also something else to say about earlier, but you're going to go to hell if you don't believe in God. Hell's a whole thing we'll go into, and how it's not a thing. But before we get into that, I want to go back even further to what you're talking about so in the Bible, they talk about the rapture, which is where Jesus Christ himself comes down, and then everyone who believes in Christ, the world ends essentially, and everyone who believes in Christ goes to heaven, everyone else goes to hell, and their clothes are left behind, they just ascend into light, basically, the world ends. And it's called the rapture. And again, where that's not necessarily full truth, but also not wrong, is they're saying Christ is coming back. Christ is literally back in a human body in our lifetimes. Like we said, he's been back in George Washington's body. He's been back in many other bodies. And Buddha's back. Buddha's in the Midwest back. And is a teenager. He doesn't know he was Buddha, probably. Maybe he does. I don't know. But I don't know if he was Christ. I don't know. But intuitively, you can see that the souls are back on Earth. And you can kind of see where they're at, on Earth. And
shout out George Washington.
Shout out George Washington. Yeah. But love that guy. Yeah. But I'm cracking up. But they're back because, Nicky was saying, the earth was literally about to be in the end times, like not that long ago. Like we are living in biblical times. The time we are living in will be written about, like in history fucking everywhere. And if souls like yourselves listening to this didn't come back, if the Buddhas and Christ didn't come back, like the world would have literally tanked. Yeah. But all the souls who over the lifetimes have gained and earned the right to have a certain level of consciousness because of all the trauma obstacles they've continued to go through over all the lifetimes, they came back and they are literally raising the frequency and vibration of the planet.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So the Bible's like, the rapture, Jesus is coming back, the world's going to end. And it's like, yes, but no, like not in the way they say it's going to happen.
And here's the truth nugget in there, right? They say that if you don't like, what is it? If you're not fully give your life to Christ, then you're screwed. Okay. A lot of misinformation in there, but the truth nugget that resides within it is that as we step into this new heaven on earth, it is going to light a fire under the butts of humanity, meaning reflections are becoming an all-time high. If you are not embodying Christ-like consciousness practices and perspectives and actions in your life, it's going to be difficult to move through the raft. It's going to be difficult to move through the things that happen. And so the truth in that is that as we create a heaven on earth, we are the generators of that heaven on earth. And so people that aren't subscribed to seeing themselves as special and unique, people that aren't seeing themselves as beautiful, as being connected with source and having values that are in accordance with source, it is going to be difficult if you don't embody those Christ level practices, perspectives, which you all get through intuition and connecting with source aligned protocols and stuff like that. But that's the little truth nugget in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You will literally live in your own personal hell.
Yeah.
Like not go to a burning hell underground, but like you will live in your own personal like hell.
And the truth within the hell thing, do you want to get into that now?
Yeah.
Yeah. The truth within the hell is that the way that they describe it, not accurate, but technically a version of hell exists, meaning it's really difficult to get there. You can distance yourself so far from source. It's really hard to get there that you just end up in nothingness. But that is a really, 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 really hard place to get to. There's a realm that could be considered hell, but it's not a punishment, and it's like you have to like force your way there, basically. Yeah,
you would have to literally do a dark force act. Like it's not you being atheist or not believing or not knowing or sinning or having sex before marriage or like that, which we can get into that whole thing. But it's not that. It's you did a absent of light act in order for your gain. Like it happens a lot in Hollywood or like for money, fame, and power. A lot of times you come back just with like a lot of soul karma from that, but that is a thing. But hell, that people say, is what we call like realm 2. And that's just where like demons are. And demons sound so like scary and weird, but on a level of 10 being the most powerful thing, they're like level 2 power. And they're just like, just little critters who are like demons. Yes. And like not, you don't want them on you, but, there is like, you know how they say Lucifer or whatever, there is like a king demon.
Yeah.
And, you know how like the fallen angel, like that's also not wrong. Like that's how dark forces started, is they couldn't get what they wanted through source. Yeah. So they broke off from source and did things in absent of light way. So it's like, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was said in the Bible, you know, like one of the things a lot of people don't realize about Christ, and speaking about demonic forces, like I think one of the first interactions with Mary Magdalene was clearing her of they say 7 demonic forces, whether that was symbolic or not. There's truth to that one of the reasons why Christ was on this planet was to awaken the world to absent of light, and the influence that it has on humanity. A lot of us don't realize is that because we are connected with source energy, we have this light, that demonic forces need to siphon energy somewhere. So it's not necessarily evil. It's just more objective in math. It's like, I need light. You have light. Yeah. I'm gonna fuck up your soul path so you never know that I'm on you.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just going to be like just siphoning your light.
Yep.
And the problem that can happen is that it just might take you a lot of lifetimes, because we are meant to go back to source. We're meant to create a heaven on earth, go back to source. And the thing with atheism is that there's a process. It might take you another lifetimes. If you stayed in atheism, you'd be stuck in a cycle.
Totally.
And that could be considered a version of hell. Come back to earth to learn your lesson. But ultimately, it is written into our into the quantum field that it is our destiny to get back to source, and everything that we are pulled to do and create and experience, it all brings us back to that source self, or that Christ level of consciousness that resides within all of us. We are here to be, like a lot of spiritual people say, Christ isn't coming back. We're meant to embody Christ consciousness. Some of that's true. I don't know. Some of that's not true, which is Christ is back, but it's also true that we are also the return of Christ.
100%.
And Christ in this Christ in this lifetime is meant to do even more amazing things than he did the first time around. As he was Christ, he was here in different ways, but yeah.
1000%. I want to go into, I have a lot of things here. Okay.
Just get comfortable.
A lot of people had this question. Source truth on, my sister's back here. Source truth on sex before marriage. And how they call it like a sin in the Bible.
Yeah. You want to go first or you want me to go?
Well, again, like Nicky said, there's like a blanket statement, but then there's like you go into that and you pull out like a gold nugget from that. And now like everyone in this room right now has had sex before marriage. So like no one's sitting here saying this from us three.
Oh, God.
Maybe not here, but like I know you have. I know.
I'm like, you just intuitively
know I have. No.
Bad.
I logically know that you and me have.
Sinner.
So
show yourself to the people. Just kidding.
We're gonna put you on the how they used to kill witches.
Yeah.
Gonna burn me at the stake. We're gonna burn you at the stake.
We're gonna bring Kiki here. Everyone's gonna go shame.
Oh my God. So I'm not coming at this place of like, I didn't have sex before marriage. And so again, there's like a truth nugget in that statement, not necessarily like the truth, but there's like a nugget in there. And the source truth nugget in there is when you have sex, it's a massive energy exchange. So it's like you want to be careful who you are having sex with, because sex is a massive energy exchange. You are giving pieces of your energy and taking pieces of theirs. So all of their problems, all of their emotions, all of their thoughts, you've now taken on and you've given away a part of yours.
Yeah.
And so people who are just kind of giving themselves away out of an imbalance, that is a reflection. That is you being disconnected from your highest truth.
Yeah.
And that is like, it comes from low self-image. Like men and women look for validation through sex, or look to feel like they're hot, or look to feel like they're loved, or look to feel some kind of thing that they are deep in themselves lacking. They try to fill that void through sex. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're saying. Like having sex from an imbalanced place is you being out of alignment with the fullness of your full power and potential. But when you're having sex with someone who it's like you're doing it from a intuitive pull, and you are, in love with each other, and you are whatever you have going on, like that is so different than just like giving your energy away to anyone because you're trying to fill a void. Yeah,
you're attempting to fill a need. There's an emotional imbalance. There's an aspect of you that doesn't feel valuable enough. There's an aspect of you that doesn't feel good enough, doesn't feel special and unique. And because you feel absent of really what it is, source, and you feel absent of love, you feel deficient in that source, love and light, you find a way to sort of elicit an illusion of source energy. Yeah. This is what anything that doesn't serve us is intended to do. Whether it is sort of like the food that is not healthy for us, it's designed to elicit this feeling of source. You have like fast food, right? And it's meant, or like a piece of candy or something. It's like meant to elicit this like illusion of source, like this feel good energy, but it's ultimately not a true pull desire to experience. And like you said, it's that you're taking on the imbalances because you're going to be a vibrational match to other people that are also having intercourse in an imbalanced way. So you're taking on all the imbalances of the person that you're with, but from the perspective of source doesn't have any judgment. Source sees, this is going to sound a little bit silly, but actually source sees the laughter, the joy, and all the things where we're just learning soul lessons, like connecting with source. And we have this like harsh sort of relationship with the different experiences from our past. Source sees the playful nature in it. Source sees the laughter in it. Source sees how you were growing the same way that we would view a little puppy running and tripping and running and tripping and running and tripping and then biting and then pooping on the floor. There's something cute and adorable about
1000%.
that. And so when you have these experiences, the goal is to, once again, embody that Christ level of consciousness to go, what's the perfection in this? What was I meant to learn? But it's also beneficial to realize that, yeah, if you are going after and having intercourse with another person out of an imbalance, that there are going to be consequences, but the consequences,
they're not from source.
Yeah, no, they're not from source. They're just meant to teach you how to love yourself more. If you didn't have consequences, if I didn't have a consequence when I ate a Hershey's bar every time, I would never eat healthy. It's that simple.
Yep.
Right. And so a lot of these things that we engage with, where Christianity would be like, you're sinning, things of that nature, it's really just an emotional imbalance. You could replace the word. Some other, spiritual modalities will call it like sankaras or whatever you want to call it. It is just being out of alignment with your true nature. And when you sort of live a life in accordance with source energy, now the interactions that you have with the world, whether it is having intercourse with someone or it is just having a friend, being someone's friend, it's ways that are serving each other and contributing to what you were built to do in this world and ultimately increasing the frequency of this planet in a way that is accelerated. You're sort of just speeding up collapsing timelines. And so, yeah.
100%. And oh God, I keep losing my train of thought.
Are these questions, if I clicked on here, or do we do that?
Well, we do that after.
Oh, we do that after.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we will. Don't you worry.
Kiki says 1 hour later. Sorry, I'm just stretching here. Go ahead. Your mom.
With now I get more distracted because of the Kiki's going down the distracted thing.
Your mom. Right, Kiki?
Here we go. So, yeah,
Your God. Mom. Okay, that's it. I gotta get out of my system.
Thank you. So
everyone's like, Nicky, you're not funny.
We can have like a low self-image imbalance of I don't feel valuable. And then that can manifest into then us going to want someone to fuck us so that we can feel valuable. Is that funny? So then
I was like, yeah, the intercourse, you're like, sex, but shit. I was like, it's great. I love it.
To make us feel valuable.
Great. Yeah.
But they also, that person is a frequency match to you, so they also don't feel valuable, because if they are agreeing to just randomly also fuck you, like you're agreeing to randomly also fuck them, they feel just the same lack of value as you do. Well, now what happens? Now you exchange energy. Now you feel even more less valuable. They even feel even more less valuable. Now it's amplified. And you keep going through life this way, and you keep trying to solve this inner wound and void from the outside. And yeah, source like literally doesn't give a fuck. Source, again, like Nicky was saying, like sees us like how we see little babies and sees the perfection in all of it. But it's your own personal like shitstorm that you then put yourself in. And people think like, oh, the universe hates me or God hates me. God and the universe see everything as perfection, and God cannot go against your free will of what you're doing to yourself and what you believe to be true. So if you feel like have you ever wondered why there's like a really good person, they work so hard, they're like maybe a single working mom and they love their kids and they're working so hard and they just can't fucking like seem to save money or no one seems to help them. But then you have the person over here who's like, I don't know, taking advantage of people and using people, and somehow they're getting all these gifts and money and all these things. And it's like, okay, why is God favoring this person over here taking advantage of people over the hardworking mom? And it's like, that's not God.
Yeah.
That's their own creator field. That's their own belief system, because no one's right, no one's wrong. It's whatever you believe to be true. True. So if you have this belief of all I do is work hard and work and I can never seem to get ahead, well, that's going to be the life you create. But if this person over here has a belief of, oh, if I just take advantage of people, I'll get what I want. Not that that's like the highest aligned thing to think, but if that's what they have a belief ongoing, that's what they will get. So it's not like God punishing you, or sort of questions about that. Like, does God punish us? And it's not, we're not getting punished by God. We do it to ourselves based on our own thoughts, our own beliefs, our own creator field. So the own personal hell we live in when we quote sin, which is when we have a reflection, is not punishment from God, but out of alignment things from ourselves. So if someone goes and sleeps with someone from a wound, it doesn't make them feel better. It actually makes them feel worse. Now they feel worse than they already did. And that's their own version of like, quote, hell. Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I was going to say. I had something and I lost it. I didn't lose it just now. I lost it probably 20 seconds ago.
I know. That's what I was going to say earlier, but then I lost it.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go into source truth on abortion.
We really like to go to the hot topics here.
I do. That's what we do.
So I'll say this. Source realizes the perfection in everything. Okay. People that are in a position of power and they go out of their way to sort of like, there's a whole movement out there in the world, which is my body, my choice. And on paper, that sounds great. It elicits this feeling of love. How do you control humans? By getting them in an emotional state? It could be love. Mm-hmm. It could be love, right? How many people have been in a relationship? They feel high levels of love. And that person controls them, and they have to learn the source aligned lesson to listen to themselves, be a critical thinker, listen to their intuition. It's not that anything is good or bad. It's not that abortion is good or bad. Mm-hmm. But people in a position of power have weaponized this and are intentionally pushing it onto humanity so that humans are hyper-focused and okay and sort of it, not the word dismiss, not
disassociated.
Dissociate. What's the word? Kiki, I've said it to you before. It's like that's close. It's like
dissociated.
It might be like It's sort of,
It
might be dissociated.
Like
it starts with a D.
It's
attached. You're close.
Close. It's like
Someone can write it.
Who has it? It's
Can't think of the word.
Not dismissive. It's
disassociate's close.
No, it's oh my God, where you're like you're immune to it. Your brain's immune to it.
So their intention behind the My Body, My Choice movement, the intention behind it is to, whatever the word is, desensitize. They're meant to desensitize.
Desensitize. We got it up here too.
You'll hear a lot of
desensitize.
I'll probably forget. Their intention is to desensitize humanity to death. They can't just go, hey, it's beneficial to kill a child because no one's going to subscribe to that.
Right.
They have to start to the smallest degree, and then they go start larger and larger. So what they will start to do is push the term limits. So if you hear these politicians be like, we don't go to like 9 months or the fourth term or whatever it may be, and they're like really pushing that, and other people are on board like, yes, it's not bad. My body, my choice. They're meant to elicit this feeling of love, but slowly desensitize you. And ultimately, there have been cases where there's late-term abortions and it wasn't essential at all. Mm-hmm. And you're actually pulling out the limbs of a child. So ultimately, there are cases where you'll intuitively look in and it is beneficial for a soul lesson for the woman to abort the child intuitively. But you have to be able to understand they are weaponizing it. And in a source-aligned world, in a high-frequency world, is abortion exist? Not really. Mm-mm. It's not that it's illegal or legal, okay? Because that's I want you guys to get out of the black and white way to see this. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, they have us hyper fixated on, it's okay to have reckless sex, and they intentionally place abortion clinics into certain neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. That abortion was originally created by, what's her name? I'm completely forgetting, but she was a eugenicist, mm-hmm. right? And people that were racist used to donate to the abortion clinics. Yep. So that look at the backstory of how Planned Parenthood was created. Yeah. Things. Mm-hmm. Again, things that are meant to pull you away from source, they have to be presented as empowerment. Yes, as empowerment. Yeah. Humanity is inherently love and good.
Yeah. So they have to think they're doing something good.
So this isn't about being pro-life or being pro-choice. It's about looking from the source perspective and go, what is source's ultimate goal and what is their goal? They would prefer us to be having reckless intercourse and to be recklessly having children and reckless abortions. That's not what's going to be on our conscious mind. But ultimately, it's about, and so where a lot of Christians will say it's evil and it's demonic, not in a black and white way. There are situations where because we are riddled with misinformation, and we're not taught about sex in education, you look at it intuitively and it's right for the woman to abort the child. There's a soul lesson for the child. There's a soul lesson for the mother. That is a thing. I hate to say it, but it exists, especially in these traumatic experiences that happen. It's a soul lesson teaching the mother how to put herself first. In a high frequency society, it's not about, is it legal or not legal? Does it exist? Are we as humans engaging with that activity? No, because we're intentionally having children. We're not putting ourselves in situations. We understand our cycles. Women understand when they're ovulating, which, believe it or not, a lot of women actually don't really know. Like,
I know.
They don't have an understanding of their cycles and what time of the month they can actually, it's a super high percentage to get pregnant and things of that nature. And so I hope that helps.
Yeah. And to add on to the abortion, like, if you understand intuition and reflections, there isn't actually ever a reason to have an abortion. There are scenarios where you don't understand reflections where, like, it's the soul coming in already knew that was going to happen. And it was part of the soul contract to teach the mother a lesson and that kind of thing.
That's the nuance. You said it again.
Yeah.
It's hard to be black and white because yes, there are souls that get aborted, but they know they're going to get aborted for a soul lesson. That's why it's not black and white.
Yeah.
So this isn't a judgment on aborting a child or anything like that. You and the soul made an agreement that you would learn a lesson together, and source sees the perfection in it. The question is, does abortion exist in a high frequency society?
No.
It's not there. And if it is, it's a very small percentage. I cut you off, but.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's even there in a high frequency society because I have to be careful how I say this.
Was I careful?
So, yeah. Oh, okay. You're very good. Okay. You're way more careful than me.
Ellie's like, listen, motherfuckers, let me tell you the fucking truth here.
You're very good. Yeah, you're very good. Okay. So, for example, just like how souls choose, like we've all chose our own parents, we've all chose our own trauma, right? Like I've chosen to have trauma. I've chosen to go through certain things in my life. You've chosen to go through certain things in your life. When something traumatic happens like that and someone gets pregnant, that soul is also choosing that experience. It's choosing it knows what it's signing up for, and it's choosing that, whether it's to teach someone a lesson or whether it's to teach, the mom a lesson or whatever it is. Like things aren't black and white. It's like you've got to look at the soul blueprint and the soul contracts and the soul thing of everything. Now, if you have intuition and if you understand reflections, like if anyone who understood that was to get pregnant with some like random guy at the bar that they chose to go have sex with or whatever it is, like in like a higher frequency, high conscious world, like that person wouldn't get an abortion because they would see that soul's supposed to.
Yeah, you'd understand like these universal source laws, and you'd see the perfection. I remember the first time, like I had a friend of mine, and this is when I sort of like thought one way. And when my friend goes, he said, if you are pro or like my body, my choice, like you're pro that movement, right? He's like, it's really effed up. I'm like, really? I'm like, I don't agree with that. Like, my body, my choice. Like that makes total sense. The woman should decide what she does with her body. And I remember like sort of being like kind of triggered that he thought the other way. I'm like, I don't subscribe to that. I don't agree with that. And then I began to integrate this perspective, this protocol that I shared frequently. Is like, if I don't understand something, Nicky, put your ego aside and start to understand the other perspective. And that's what I would encourage anyone to do. And so I went down this rabbit hole and understanding that like, oh my gosh, there are a lot of abortions where they're actually pulling out the limbs, and scientific studies have shown that the babies actually can feel it and all these other things. And of course the argument will be made if it's like during a shorter term, but you start to understand the history and the intention behind it. And all of a sudden what it does, it gets you out of the black and white lens. So like if someone's good, are you pro-life or are you pro-choice? It's really neither. Like one of the questions I've asked myself is like, if I was the president of the United States and I had to be faced with like making it a law, like a law to be pro-choice or pro-life, I wouldn't even go in that direction. Mm-hmm. It would be creating more like educational programs about sex, fixing the foster care system. Yeah. So creating a pro-life society, I wouldn't even address the legal point of view because you have to shift. A pro-life society means that we are all aware of source-aligned perspectives, understanding about reflections, understanding about why souls come in, and understanding things objectively. What they have realized and they've mastered, that people are in a position of power, is that if they can elicit an emotion within you, even if it's love, it's a great emotion, you can be controlled. And so they create these really catchy terms, my body, my choice. Well, thinking about that, if you're not my body, my choice, you're a piece of shit. What it does, it creates a divide in humanity. What I have found is you start to look into the minds of people who are my choice, that support that movement, really loving people that care about humanity. You look into the pro-life movement and like the core base of that movement, really loving people. Like, you're like, oh, they want the same things. They see different ways of getting there. And even the pro-life has been manipulated in some way. And the pro, they've both been manipulated to think that it's like, if you disagree, you're a bad person. And it creates this divide and it distracts us from the real powers that be, the people that want to create chaos, which is to get us in our emotions. That means to activate our sexual energy and have alcohol and have drugs and all these other things, keep us divided with one another, and we'll never identify the source of our problems, which is the people. Well, anyway,
divide and conquer. Like
divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. Like,
and it is to destroy. That they incentivize like single motherhood through government programs. And so, the idea is to break up the family unit so that they can't instill values into the children. They take over children within propaganda through the school systems. And what we have to understand is that dark forces or people in a position of power, they have infiltrated every space that you can imagine. Right? Someone was asking me about the gay community the other day. And I say, it's no different than any other community, just like sororities, just like fraternities, just like religion and Christianity. It's just been infiltrated by dark forces. So they're going to promote it like Christianity. How do you promote Christianity? Love. Right? How do you promote fraternities, brotherhood, sisterhood, college education? It's promoted through love. The gay community, it's promoted through unity and love. But really what's going on is like, how can we get them highly emotional and thinking one way and completely disconnected from their true nature past? So I would say like that community, it's no different than any other community that it's been infiltrated by dark forces.
1000%. They go into like women, right? They get women, they get minorities, they get the gay community, they get men in other ways with porn or whatever.
Getting women in the workforce was a dark force intention.
1000%. And they get you, and then they make it empowering, because like Nicky said, if they were telling you what they were actually doing, no one would buy into it. But they make it empowering, and they make it like women's empowerment, and be empowered, and you can do what you want with your body. And when really it leaves you feeling really unfulfilled and empty.
And it has you identifying with something other than that is your true nature, right? I'm atheist. I believe in science. I'm straight. I'm gay. I'm this. I'm that, right? It's like, no, like who you are at your core is your source energy. And when you tap into your intuition, you can realize the goodness that resides within everything. Right? But they are, they say like the devil is a liar. That's something else that's associated with Christianity. It's true, is that things that are not good for you are going to present themselves as loving, fun. Think about McDonald's. It has a fucking clown that is meant to bring you happiness, toys, and they color the burgers so they look fucking delicious. That's how anything. And so that's why it's difficult. Even people in a position of power, without your intuition, you can be like, man, this person is unifying. They're an incredible communicator. Their persona is one that is loving and sweet. That's how they bring you in. And it's just like placing that pill in the middle of a steak that we talked about. The steak could be healthy, but if you're eating that entire steak, that pill is going to fuck you up. And so people in a position of power, they have mastered this technique, which is to be loving, sweet, good communicators, talking about unity, talking about the bad people, when really, I don't love to use this word because we all are perfect, but in a way to just humanize it, we're all flawed as well. We're all everything, right? So there are people that are doing really good things in the world, but their persona is flawed. It's messy. But Source is like, I love that messy, flawed person. I'm going to put them in a position of power. And so it really fucks with us because your critical thinking skills go out the window. When you hear these catchphrases out there in the world, man, I would say just start to question. And the one thing I'll say, as I'm rambling, the one thing I'll say is, if you want to get to the truth of everything, understand all perspectives, especially worldly ones. Question everything that we're saying. Anything. Get to know it to the point you can defend them in a court of law. that gets you objective. Once you're objective, now you have access to your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have an emotional bias, you're done.
You're done. You're done. Because your brain, our brain, so the first thing we hear and learn about something is what our brains decide is true. So it's like, if you're watching the news and you hear a certain person's bad, and you don't even know anything about them, but you just hear they're bad, and then you take clips and they're distorted and things are all distorted. Now you've decided they're bad, but that's just your reticular activating system in your brain.
Hey, big word.
Filtering out, like, it just likes things that are familiar. So it will filter out anything else, even if it is the truth, and it will stick to the first thing it learned because it thinks the first thing it learned ever is the truth.
Yeah.
Then cue the emotions, because now you've opened up your brain to be programmed. Now you're emotional. And now anytime, someone has a different perspective, or someone tries to question you, or someone thinks differently than you, you're automatically like, your emotions are totally evoked. And so, like Nicky said, you've got to get out of your emotions. There was a point where I wouldn't have agreed with any fucking thing I'm saying right now. Like, and 10, more than like 8, like 11 years ago, 12 years ago. And you have to put your emotions to the side and like look at things very, very logically, objectively, intuitively, and see both sides of everything. Like, I get why people who have a different belief than me, with political things or whatever, have the belief they have. Like, I get it. Like, they are loving, caring people. And again, they're manipulated into thinking that what they're being told is out of a loving and caring agenda. Yeah. When it's the opposite agenda.
Well, most people that are like out marching on the street, whether it's like the left or it's the right, you look at it intuitively, you're like, oh, these are really passionate, loving people. That's literally
that's it. That's it.
Like, whatever what side it is, oh, they're very like they hardcore believe in what they believe, and they're very loving, and they care about humanity, and they've been manipulated to think that the other side is bad. That is the furthest thing from the truth. Mm-hmm. Here's the truth. We need all of those perspectives. We need people to understand that being pro-life is good. We need people to understand that pro-choice is good. If we all embody both, then it's not going to be one person is radically pro-life and one person is radically pro-choice. If we all embody both, we're all going to get both.
Exactly.
It's going to create unity. I don't know how.
1,000%. It's like the marbles again. Like, it's like, if you're so anti, someone else has to be so for, vice versa. But if you can see things as not so black and white and just see it from the soul contract and the source perspective and the perfection of it all, then no one's fighting each other. Mm-hmm. And then people actually have time to pay attention to the dark forces that run the world. Yeah. And then they have no power anymore, but they want power. So they put a radical thing over here, a radical thing over here, have everyone fight each other, and then everyone's fucking, distracted all the time. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. We hit a lot of like the big topics. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is a good one. Okay. So I got a lot of questions of how do you pray? Because if source, and I have a really good analogy for this, but people are asking like, how do you pray? Yeah. Because like if God can't, like if our creator feels creating, like what does God do? What's God involved in? And I want you to think of it as like, you build a car, you get all the pieces to build the car, and you build the car and you get the engine running and you connect everything where it needs to be connected, and you put the doors on and you put the gas pedal on the steering wheel, and you like have this whole car built. Now that the car is built, you get in the car, you put your foot on the gas pedal. Well, now God / source can come in and help you put your foot on the gas pedal and like speed up where the car's going. Yeah. And that's kind of how I look at it. Like, God can't do anything. My sister's holding up a sign that says 10 minutes. Thank you. God can't.
Hell yeah.
God can't do anything. Like we have to move and build a thing, and then God can help give that like a push. Yeah,
so it's sort of like when you pray, you're opening up your vessel to source energy, and so that's gonna be inserted into your creator field by a certain percentage. Yeah. So it's
around 14%.
Yeah. So there you go. So about 14%. That 14% isn't going to do much if you're not putting in the work. Yeah. And you activate source energy through movement, through all these different ways. Prayer is one of them. One thing about prayer as well that's important to note is that you want to set and Hallie already knows this, and maybe your community already does as well. I'm sure they do. Ali gives away all the good information, which is that it's just worth saying again, which is it's essential that when you pray to send your prayers directly to source, because your prayers can also get hijacked. Yes, hijacked, because there are other gods that exist. So if you're just praying to God, right, that can be a little bit tricky because your message is going up to source, and this God is like, well, they pray to God, I'll take that
like the
prayer.
reptilian God.
Yeah, dark forces God.
Yeah.
So it's essential that there is a technique to prayer. The more people that pray, it amplifies the energy by a certain percentage. And also you want to set the intention that your prayer goes directly to source. And that's something else that they talk about in the Bible in a way that's a little bit vague that I find beneficial. They also talk about ask and you'll receive and it is given. It's a form of manifestation and stuff like that. So you can definitely ask source for more things. We also have guides. We have angels. And I mean, man, when I'm really stuck, I'm like, higher self guides, help me. Help me. You don't have to worry about feeling too needy. They hear you. They'll give you sort of like, because the way that they can do it is that they're non-physical. They're high frequency. They can't change your emotions and stuff, but they can insert certain like frequencies into your creative field, and it'll give you new perspectives. It'll take new actions. We have free will. It can't force you to do anything, but you definitely have source, your higher self, your guides, your angels to call on for support. One of the things like connecting with guides and stuff is, you look into a lot of people's guides and they're always like, yeah, they never ask me for help. I can't interrupt their free will.
Yeah.
So it's like, they never asked me for help. So it's a huge asset that a lot of people don't know. Call on your guides, call on your angels. You don't got to worry about being too needy with them. They're close to your energy. They'll give you the sort of energetic boost that is really beautiful. And they see your life from the subjective bird's eye view. And source, call on source. Source will delegate tasks to different guides and stuff, Yeah.
But yeah. They can give you like an idea or a pull, or I should go this way. Or like for me, it was like, I should move to LA, and they can do that. But if you don't follow it, there's nothing they can do. Like, and then they're working overtime.
Yeah.
You're making your guides and your higher self and your angels work fucking overtime when you don't follow the pull. And the more you don't follow it, the more you're like, you're supposed to go over here and you're all the way fucking over here. Yeah. Like now they're having to work extra hard. It's going to take extra longer.
Yeah.
And if you're not intuitively trained, right? If you're intuitively trained, you can bypass many things. But if you're not, you're just walking the streets in the wild, like they have to do the fucking most and then get you back on path. And that's where obstacles come from. Yeah.
And then also guides can be like, let's say you're going through something and you're calling on your guides for assistance. They can communicate with Kiki's guides, and Kiki has this idea to call you, and they know that phone call you get from Kiki is going to help you get out of that rut. So it's these really cool things that they can do in the non-physical that can help us and support us. Also something beneficial to know, I think your community might already know, you don't, depending on where you're at along your higher self path, there's a point where you'll actually have no guides. That's an interesting fact. Yeah. Where guides are guides are a little bit like training wheels. I still have guides. And so, I'm just sharing that, but like they're a little bit like training wheels. They're here to support you, but when they feel it's beneficial to not have training wheels and the only way you'll grow is without guides, guides will go do their own thing. You can also switch out guides, which is really cool. Like if the guide isn't supporting you, both you're like, yeah, we did our thing, bring in new guides and they'll help you. And there's energy healing techniques. For that. Yeah.
I think you start out with 3, and then like as you connect to your own intuition and as you put yourself on your soul line path more and more and more, it'll be like, oh, okay, like you don't need me on this side anymore. Like I'll go over here, and then you have 2 left, and then maybe you keep going, you have 1 left. And that's kind of like the progression of guides. And one last thing with praying too, is you want to make sure that when you're praying, you're not doing it from an energy of hope. Yeah. If you're praying from an energy of hope, that's the worst energy you could be in. Yeah. Because hope means like you've lost all hope and like you don't think it's going to happen.
It's doubt.
Yes.
Doubt is disruptive for your creativity.
Yeah, it's awful. It's like basically saying this is going to happen. Like someone just throw me a bone, like praying for like a miracle, and you're hoping. But you can pray. Like when the whole thing with like Charlie Kirk happened, I was talking about it on my story. People were like, how do we even pray? And I was like, well, how I do it is I pray like for the best possible outcome for everyone involved, for soul growth. Yeah. Or, it's good. What I mean? Or like praying that like I can hear I allow myself to hear the intuitive pull as much as possible.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. But if you're praying from, please, like, throw me a bone, help me, I'm hoping, it's the worst frequency you could be in, because now your creator field's saying doubt, I don't have, and then that's what you're going to create more of.
Yeah. And it's good you brought that up, because I was saying earlier, when you're asking guides for help, you might be in a needy place. They hear you. Ultimately, if you stay in that needy place, it's going to be difficult to get their lessons. But I mean, I've been in that situation where, and not directly to source, it's more my higher self and guides, where I'm in that needy place. But ultimately, what I do know is that it works. So I know that my perspective shifts. I know that it works. I still have to do these actions, getting out of that neediness. So it's really good that you brought that up. This hope, believe it or not, has been promoted as something that is beneficial. There's a place for everything in the world, even certain pharmaceutical drugs and stuff like that. And there's a place for hope. But ultimately, as a high frequency soul, hope is disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is disruptive to you getting the things you're asking for. Yeah.
This is good. Wow. I think we covered a lot. I mean,
is there anything else on the list?
I have a full
whole thing
list. I have a whole thing, but we got, one last thing is, a lot of people are asking, is drinking alcohol bad? And again, like how the Bible says, like, substances are a sin and that kind of thing. And they call it spirits, like alcohol and spirits, for a reason. Like, when you are under the influence of alcohol, drugs, ayahuasca, mushrooms, plant medicine, anything, your energy, any kind of shield your energy naturally has to protect you from like heavier energies or dark forces coming onto you, just drops. And your energy gets spread wide open. And now think of like when you take plant medicine, your chakras, your energy goes across all dimensions, all realities, all fucking the whole universe. It's just your energy spread wide open. Well, now your energy's across the whole universe, all the dark forces across the whole universe.
Party.
They're like, oh, light, suck on it, siphon it, and now they're attaching to you. And again, dark forces can pose as angels and light things very easily. So they can come into your plant medicine experience, and you can think it's light, and you can follow light, and you can listen to what the light's saying. And, but actually it's a demon telling you to do it, and they're posed as an angel.
Yeah.
So alcohol too, like you're getting drunk to the point, and people are like, well, Jesus drank wine. Wine is different. Like if you drink a glass of wine right before you're about that point of tipsy, you're good. But the second you get past the point of tipsy with anything, your energy spread.
Yeah. And it's beneficial to know that there's a place for everything. And Allie's right. Like when going to like drugs and stuff, you open your energy wide. There's a thinning of the veil. You're going to see some creatures of light, also a ton of absent of light. They'll tell you themselves you're anything. When it comes to alcohol, this is where intuition is so beneficial, because there might be times intuitively you hear glass of wine is good, or to get a little bit tipsy, to have some fun. It'll teach you not to take the information that you're hearing here or the spiritual information so seriously. Mm-hmm. You know what? I heard alcohol like puts demons on me. It's scaring me. I'm actually going to have some alcohol. It's going to teach me a lesson and like to let go and let loose. And so it's a balance to everything. And it's why it's beneficial to understand that even though information has been presented to us, to humanity through this black and white lens, good and bad, it's way more nuanced to the perspective of source. Nuance, if you wanted to simplify it, it's actually perfect, but these things are not good. They sort of oscillate. Even humans, we're oscillating between, if you want to go through the good and bad lens, oscillating between good and bad and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And so I know you'll have some fun, like when you feel intuitively pulled, right? I
got an intuitive read once to drink a glass of wine in the bathtub. Or like one time our teacher, Al, was like, you need to like cook dinner and drink a glass of wine. Fucking do something.
And why? Go ahead.
And it's because like, I think it's the intention of why you're doing something too.
Well, yeah.
Like if I'm like going out and I'm like, I want to get drunk so I can have fun or like have sex or whatever it is, like you're now in such an imbalanced place, and then you're drunk, and then, but it's like a glass of wine again, to the point of like, you're just tipsy. Like that's not going to do.
Well, yeah. And also if your sympathetic nervous system is activated to the point where it's causing harm on your physical body, the glass of wine will neutralize it. You'd activate your parasympathetic response, rest, restorative state, and it'll actually help you. I really want to share with them what you guys offered me one time to have some,
you should.
I've shared with some students before. They laughed. You want me to? It's totally up to you.
Gotta share.
So I haven't had alcohol. I don't know at this point, 6, 7, 8 years. Not that I never really liked it. Actually, when I first met Allie, I moved out to Los Angeles and she lived in the same apartment complex as the people that I started living with. I just started hanging out with them and ended up living with them. And I was on like a 2-week bender, drinking. And again, it's not really my personality type. I didn't drink a ton in high school. I was just in LA as a 2-week bender. And I'd be like drinking till like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. And I'd see Allie and Emma, who's an intuitive teacher.
She's right there.
Where's Emma? Why can't I see her? Oh, hi, Emma. Emma, you remember this? So I would see Emma and Allie walking to the gym at like 6 a.m. I hadn't gone to sleep. I had alcohol. I didn't know where I was going with this. Anyway, that lasted for about 2 weeks until I probably started having like a little bit of drink sometimes, and then it turned to be like never drinking. I get really tired. So I haven't drinking in like 6 or 7 years. And there's part of me that can admit this, that probably hasn't had like a glass of wine out of an imbalance, out of an ego reason. And Justin, Allie's Justy, as you guys know, Justy. Yeah. I shared a story actually about Justy teaching me how to dance.
Wait, I love that.
The other day, and someone reached out and they like referred to Justy, like, you get your Justy stories mixed up. She was teaching you to dance on this date, whatever. So Justy and Allie, they agreed. They're like, yeah, dude, you should probably actually have like a glass of wine. It'll be good for you because you're letting go of this like, oh, I don't drink persona.
Yeah.
Can I tell them what you guys offered?
Yeah.
Justin offered me $5,000 and Allie offered me $1,000, $6,000 total to have some wine.
I was like, I'm begging you.
They were like begging me, and I turned it down. I did not do it, but I just thought that was really funny because, and I'm sharing that story because it's not black and white. Like even myself kind of felt like it'd be beneficial for you to like get over this persona of as a guy that doesn't have alcohol, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Because it's not black and white.
It's not black and white. Yeah.
Alcohol opens up your energy wide. It's good to know that. And then when you have intuition, you can sort of like weave through what's beneficial and what's not. Things like plant medicine and marijuana and stuff that I've stayed away from, because I don't see, but sometimes there are things, that can be beneficial for you. So I think that's a funny story. I'm glad Allie let me share it. I did not take it. I did not take her $1,000 or his $5,000.
We were like yelling at him. We're like, please.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think we'll end on that note. Well, I'm sure we'll do a part 2 of this because we have so much more to say, but
it's a fun topic.
And we touched like some good of like the main ones in here. And then I just one more thing, like little like disclaimer, like this is what we've seen using our intuition and finding the source truth and how we know how to find the source truth and use our intuition. And fucking, you can hate everything we said, and that's okay. You don't have to agree with anything that we just said. And again, this like my opinions and beliefs now come from what I know as the source truth, but I've had to break down a lot of my old opinions and beliefs to be able to find the source truth of things. And maybe we know fucking nothing, and maybe none of this is the source truth, and we'll find out, I guess, when we cross over. So maybe we're completely fucking wrong and we have no idea anything we just said. But yeah, I thought it was a fun topic because we both, I think, get a lot of questions about this, and we got into this conversation too the other week after everything that happened, in the world with like Charlie Kirk and that whole thing. And we've had a lot of talks about Christianity and like Christ just throughout our lives. Nicky and I see things very, very similar.
Yes. And again, I'm not saying I fully am rooted to this yet. I know Allie probably is, but we were driving and I was like, Allie, I'm pretty sure we could make the argument that we're like a high frequency Christian. She goes, yes, I've been thinking this. Now, again, maybe there's a day that I'll totally proclaim that. It's just sort of, Allie's great because I can share with her some of the thoughts that I think about. And she's like, because we do see the world way similar as spiritually. We're super in alignment with the way that we see the world. So it's something entertaining to explore, and there's an intuitive pull there for a reason. And there's a huge benefit to Christian values that are way beneficial for the world. I mean, dark forces intentionally took out Christianity from the school systems, not because Christianity is bad, it's because of the aspects of it that connects people with these high frequency values that Christianity has to offer.
Mm-hmm. And being connected with those gives you power. And they're like,
we don't want people connected to religion. It'll connect them to their families. It'll connect them to empowerment. Even though it's riddled with misinformation, it was enough, empowering enough. They're like, let's get it out of the school systems.
Yeah. Or even like I have in white ink Joshua 1:9 tattooed on my arm, and it's my favorite Bible verse because it's like, have I not told you, don't be afraid, God's with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And so that's my favorite, because it's like, if you have like source God in your heart and like, let me follow that mission that my soul and source chose for me, you're not in fear. And when you're not in fear, you're not manipulated. And they want the powers that, should not be, want you in fear. They want you manipulated. Totally. So it's why it's one of my favorite, verses in there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming, Nicky. Let everyone know where they can find you. We'll also link you in the show notes too, nice. all your stuff.
I'm up in the show notes.
He's in the show notes.
Social media, and I'm up in the show notes.
We'll put Nicky's website and social medias in the show notes.
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Sweet.